Welcome to the Damned Podcast. And of course, this is a special broadcast that we're doing that involves one of our top level patrons. And of course, you can see what our top level patronage is about if you go to Patreon, and you'll see a link in the description of this video. And if you're watching it on social media, you'll see it in the posts that are there. And it is called, of course, the Berserker level. And I thought that was a good name for it. And we're going to be talking about a very important subject, and it's about personal transformation. And this is something that a lot of people really want to look at and to do and to experience, but A, they don't know where to start, or B, they say they want to have personal transformation, but don't really want to have personal transformation because they like the status quo. And what I hope to do here in this broadcast, and I know as well that Tony, who is with me here today, would like this as well, is to challenge both people, both camps of people that are there in this situation. I want to thank you for being with us here, Tony. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you first for the opportunity to be here and, share some stories.
Well, that's right on. And, this is something, too, if you happen to be a patron that is watching this, that is open to you on the Berserker level, all you got to do is tell me you want to, and you can come on the air with me. But we're going to be talking about personal transformation. And the first thing that I want to bring up about this, of course, is the first camp that I was talking about, the first group of people, the people that actually want to experience personal transformation, but they're not sure where to start. And, we've all been there at some point or another. And, to look forward to something new, how to actually make that happen, and how to actually see the things that are holding us back so that we can actually get past what we put up against ourselves. A lot of people really want to know how to do that. And I know that you were in that camp at one point too there, Tony, just like I was. And I was wondering if you would share for a moment, what was it that inspired you to actually do more than just want to see personal transformation, but actually do it? Was there a particular moment that really defined this for you?
It has been for a few years ago. I finally got a relationship that I was happy with, and I found someone very special to me. That's my wife today. And after we got married, a big friend of mine was in need, and just after a month we got married in a new life. After I have traveled a lot before, and starting this new life, I had to help a friend, and I put him inside my house. So it was not very easy because you come into a new life and helping a new friend and put him in your side when you just got married was a lot of challenge, and he was going through some troubles, and we helped each other, and until we found some place to go. And there was a camp, was a group of people that work with witchery, and over there a few things happened in life that brought me to intention, to try to find more about myself. And the story of myself, of me on transformation path, wouldn't happen if I didn't have met with the runes. So every time I have to talk about my life today, I have to talk about the runes, because they were a really big part of my life, and I found them, and I ask people, what is that? What is about? Ah, that's a Nordic system of magic. It's really complicated. Almost nobody knows how to do it because it's complicated. I was like, well, you know, there's something there. And a few years passed, and then I had a chance to train with someone from another state, and she introduced that to me, the runes. And after almost a year, I found you in your program and the teachings lessons. And the runes came to my life as a meaning of self-transformation that I never thought that would be possible in my life, that I was very skeptical. I was raised in a church, in a new Pentecostal church. My family is all from Christianity. They are amazing people, but I never felt that in my life, and I left that. I put that on the corner of my life for a long time, and once I found it, it was kind to find something that was missing from your entire life. And one thing that I really learned with you and with our group that we have is that things manifest in our lives in a very different way, because every one of us have you know a really unique perception of life. And it's not that some path is right or another is wrong. It's just different paths. And if you have your goal to become, to be a better person, to find yourself, uh, the ultimate goal from all those paths are to find self-transformation. So, and that was mine. The runes were the mine, and it just talks to me. And today, after almost 4 years already of deep studying, I'm not near to where I want to be one day, but you can see the transformation in this window of time.
That's very important to say too, because we never get to where we want to be. It's always
Right.
something more. It's always
Right.
on. You know, that's awesome. And it's interesting how the different circumstances, even when you weren't sure how to begin, just pulled because of the intention that was there together to give you the opportunity. But this is one thing that I have mentioned to other folks as well, and that is that if you hadn't been paying attention to the opportunities, it could have just slipped right by. And that's one thing that we have to always remember, is that when we set an intention into motion through either the undiluted aspect of our own will or through magic, we need to become very aware of what is going on around us, because the opportunities will come through the path of least resistance.
Right.
And if we're expecting it, it must be this way, or it must be that way. It could be over here, and it was there all along. But because you were looking here or you were looking there, it just went right by you like a ship in the night. And so we need to release those hardcore expectations and remember that we can work with energy and we can work with spirits. We can put our intention in motion, but we cannot micromanage it and tell it that it must be done this way. We don't tell spirits how to do their job. We don't tell energy or the universe how to do its job. We just get the process in motion and then be prepared to take action when it starts to arise in manifestation. And that's a hard lesson to learn sometimes, because I've had lots of opportunities in my own life go sweeping right by me, and then afterwards sometimes years afterwards. Damn it, it was there the whole time and I missed it.
Right.
You know, and so we hope that that happens less and less and less in our life. But, you know, this is something really important. You obviously had an intent, you had a recognition that there was something that you were looking for that you wanted to see happen in your life. Otherwise, that intention, I don't believe, would have been there. Some folks don't really give themselves time to think, to really notice that things could be more to begin with. And so there's always a distraction, there's always an entertainment, there's always, not that these things are wrong, they're not. I enjoy certain things the same as anybody else, but you know what? There's a time and a place for it, and there's a time to be quiet and listen to ourselves too. And it's when we take that moment, as uncomfortable as it sometimes is, that we begin to notice things that our deep inner self is trying to tell us, sometimes quite blatantly when we actually pay attention, that are there for us to understand so that we can do something to actually become more than what we were.
Right. And that's very important too, because as you said, there are time and space for all those things in our lives, and I can attest that because I really into what I do with a lot of passion in everything I do or try to do. If I'm with my friends, I want to be with my friends. I work with kitchen, so I cook. So, you know, cooking is a very important part of my life. And before I enter in this path, my passions in life was cooking and watching football. You know, because you know it's just I was outside. You know, it's those were my priorities. And when I started, I put myself a goal that I didn't want to be the extreme of anything. I wanted that what I was doing in that moment, studying and trying to have a change in my life to self-knowledge, to be as important as to me as was cooking, as watching football. And I couldn't find a balance in my life, you know, with my family. And in the start it was hard because sometimes you go like it's like that law of the hermetism from the pendulum. Sometimes you go to the one side way too high, and the other times you go to the other side, the opposite side, way too high as well. So I was trying to find the balance in the middle to, you know, enjoy everything that I was doing. And in this moment, I learned that the only way that I could have equilibrium in my life was to be aware of everything I was doing. And doing that, you learn to not be like, okay, I'm gonna stop now and do my magic. No, as you said a lot of times in our groups, every intentional act is an act of magic. So you're in a magic mode, let's call that, every time and in everything you do. And then you notice those little things telling you how to become on all the moments in your life. And then you just awake to life, you know, and you can grow, you can notice the water you're drinking, you can notice the book you're reading, you can notice the silence, you can hear the silence, you know. You are here, you feel your body, you feel the wind, you feel the people going through you, and then you can notice everything. And once you go through this, there is no separation in everything, and that's the crazy part. That's awesome.
And that's something that's important to know too, because Some people think, I'm sure, that with meditation, and I've said this many times, I'll say it again, meditation is the cornerstone of all magical practice.
Right.
Okay. And also, when I use, because I am a master hypnotist, when I use hypnosis within meditations for people, some people, I think, believe that I'm getting them to focus on something out there. Excuse me. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because, A, in hypnosis, at least the kind that I use, you get put more in control of yourself than you have ever been or ever will be in any other situation. And secondly, in meditation, used in this fashion, it puts you fully present in the present moment more than you have ever been or ever will be. And that is where the magic happens when it comes to realizing who you really are. Who can hear the voice of their true self if they're so busy with so many other things, even in their so-called downtime? And we've all been guilty of this, come on, folks, that we don't take the time to listen to ourselves.
Right.
And that can be very, very damaging. So I'm trying to inspire you here. Those of you that are there and you really do want to, you're setting the intention, maybe even before now or at this time when you're watching this video, that you really want to see something happen where you can get connected to your true self, where you can have these things happen in your life. That intention is moving forward. I want to inspire you to take the time, even if it's only for a few minutes a day, to start quiet and just listen to yourself. Listen not just to internal dialogue. That's only one little wee fraction of what goes on. Sometimes it can be helpful and sometimes it's not. The internal dialogue is often manipulated by so many things we put into our mind. But listen to the subtle feelings that are moving through you. Even the ones you cannot quite put your finger on, but you know they're there. Because actually those are the ones that are the most important. Not to get frustrated over, but to simply ask yourself, until you get the answer, what does that really mean?
Right.
And what ends up happening is that doors start to open inside that take you down a path deeper and deeper into yourself. And when you're moving forward in this, it then becomes more fulfilling in the purpose of bringing you into that connection. And that connection is what actually is the catalyst to bring you into a place of personal power. And that personal power then positively affects everything around you, including your family, including your community, including all these things, not all at once, but as it grows. Because you see, with the connectedness that we have with all things, everything that affects you for growth affects everything else in the collective. Well, that it doesn't affect very much, but it has a cumulative effect. Okay? You don't remember the old thing, secrets are bad because when somebody says something, then they tell two friends, then they tell two friends, then they tell two friends, then they tell two friends. Well, how many people end up knowing it?
Right. And there's a passage in Havamal that Odin talks about that if you want to keep a secret, keep just between you, because once a third person knows, there is no more secrets and no more.
And it's true. And this is of course something that you don't want to have kept to yourself, but
right.
stay focused there, because that effect that you have in your sphere of influence, even in ways that perhaps other people are not really aware of at the time has a cumulative effect that ripples outward. And it has
Right.
a stronger effect the further it goes out from you. And that's a very interesting thing to think about. And the same is true, unfortunately, when things that cause you to devolve are allowed to have the strongest place in your life, because that also affects the entire collective.
Right. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, that we have this chance to connect with ourselves and to know how to grow. And it's not easy to be with yourself a lot of times, because you need to prepare yourself. You're gonna see a lot of things. You're gonna see the real you, and if you're not ready, uh, maybe you won't like what you see, because it's you, it's the real you, you know. And that's why it's so important, like you said, meditation. I know it's hard because I was never, the type of person that could be quiet for a moment. I'm always moving, always talking, always doing something. And then it was really hard for me for almost a year to find how to meditate on my own way, you know. And I was sitting with my legs crossed and my hands up, and I was like, not like this. I was laying down, I was like, not like this. And I was barefoot, not like this. I was like, how am I gonna do this? And then I found my way. And you're gonna find your way. So you need to, in the beginning, it's gonna be really hard. But once you find a way for you, I think that you're never gonna stop, because when you don't meditate, when you don't reserve a space, a time for you on your day-to-day basis, you're gonna feel that's gonna missing something in your life. Something's wrong. Oh yeah, I'm not separating. I'm not getting a few time for myself here. Yeah, that's it. And transformation comes from that. And with this perseverance, that never give up, keep going, one step at a time, as you always said. One step at a time, as you always said. And you start to look at that in everything in your life. You see that you create your family not from the day you born until now. You went all through those years. You become a better person, and the person you are right now is gonna make, with all your wisdom, with all your memory, with all your thought. Again, Odin with hugging and money here. The mythologies become part of your life all the time. And then you become a better person in every second you are in your life, getting more knowledge to, have a chance to be better, and have a chance to be better. And when you wake up tomorrow, you're gonna have a better chance to be a better person, because of everything else.
And it's a continual growth process.
Right.
Now, I just want to sum up this portion here and just say, for those of you in the camp that are looking towards wanting to become but not sure where to look, the first thing to do is, of course, have that intention that you do want to connect with who you really are and to become. And the second thing is to be aware when you have that intention, so that you don't miss the opportunities that come as a response from that. And then the third thing Tony hit on, and that's perseverance. Keep on going,
Right.
one time. And that's how you do it. And there's no shortcuts. There's things that can be done that can help, but you still have the work to do in front of you. It doesn't go away. Somebody else doesn't do it for you. But you can be given tools to help you do it for yourself. And these things, the intention, having the awareness and having the perseverance to keep going forward. Now we're going to talk to the second camp of folks that are out there. And again, at various times, don't realize that it's all hard and fast in here. Sometimes we've been in both camps various
Right.
times in our lives as we've grown and so forth. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But we're going to take a brief break here and be back in just a jiffy. So stay tuned. You're watching the Damned Podcast. And we're back. Thank you very much. And of course, we talked just a moment ago about those folks that are perhaps watching this video today that are really wanting to set that intention, if they haven't already, to connect with their innermost self and to become. And now I want to talk briefly about the other camp of people that are out there that really prefer to stay busy. Maybe it's even on a subconscious level, so that they don't get challenged to connect with who they really are, because they feel they would lose so much that they, give value to. And it's scary to them. And of course, realize we've all been in that position too, at one time or another. Getting forth from that position is a lot easier than you would think. Because you see, fear, and this can be proven because, of course, they have done studies on this where they've looked at the reactions of the brain. When somebody feels fear and somebody feels excitement, the very same parts of your brain fire off. No difference. So the choice is, are you going to be afraid or are you going to be excited? Think of it this way. You may have been on a roller coaster sometime in your life. I know I was. And
Right.
Actually, I'm going to tell a story about something. And if you're watching this, my friend, I'm not going to call out your name. But we went on this ride, and I was, I don't know, it was like a roller coaster. The actual roller coaster we wanted to go on was shut down because two cars had jumped the tracks and killed people, so they didn't have it. I like the sign. It said, "Being service for better use to our customers." Yes, I guess people dying is not very good service. And we went on this thing called the Drop of Doom. And this was at the big theme park in West Edmonton Mall in Edmonton, Alberta. And this thing shot up, and there's a big glass dome in that area there where the theme park is, where you can see the whole city almost. It's way up high. And my friend, and we were Christian at the time, began calling on God to save him when we were on the way up the thing. We got up on the top, and it lets you sit there for a while. Then it moves ahead, and then it makes this honking sound, and then it lets you drop. And you drop down at about 62 miles an hour, somewhere in that neighborhood. And it has about a 30-foot stop where the brakes clamp in on it. So it goes down and then goes flat or horizontal, and it's stopping at that point in time. Well, when that thing dropped, and it was at night, it looked just like a scene from Star Trek when the Enterprise goes into warp drive, as all of the lights of the city just became multicolored streaks. And down we went, and they could hear his hollering over the loud machinery as the thing dropped. And he was mad at me for a year or so after that. But you know what? You could either be afraid or you could be excited by it. Okay? There's many things in life that are very unknown in terms of how the results are going to be with our particular limited egoic mind. We don't know for sure how things are going to be because, of course, we've invested so much of our energy and our time into building up what we believe to be important to us. And it's really just a persona that has no basis really in truth. We've built it up. And yet, because that's the only thing that we have that we have attached such value to, the thought of that being stripped away from us is terrifying to a lot of people. But I want to let you know something, okay? If you're letting go of an idea of yourself that was never real to begin with, so that you can have a connection to who you actually are, what are you giving up? Nothing. You see, in our minds, we think, oh, if I change, then I'm not going to be able to enjoy all these things that I put so much value onto, whether it be career, whether it be this, whether it be that, anything. No, you don't. Not at all. You just learn to see things a different way. And then your priorities change. That's all. You're going to say something there, Tony?
Yeah, I just totally agree with that. As I said, it was really, I think I'm still in this process, and I think that you are always in this process to really know your priorities and to know really what really matters to you, because you see that you have all you need, and whatever thing that you want more, you can get it. Oh, I want a better job. If you do the things that needs to have a better job, tomorrow you're gonna start doing today, and that's gonna happen. Oh, I want to spend more time with my family. You're gonna find a way if you want it. Oh, I want to, I miss my friends. I want to spend a few time with them. You're gonna find a way if you really want it. Whatever you want to do with your life, you're gonna find a way. You're gonna organize yourself. It's not gonna be easy, because in order to find a room for something that you want, you had to get rid of something that you don't want or you don't need. And then you're gonna come to a place that you're gonna have a choice, like in the Matrix movie. Oh, you wanna see reality, or you wanna come back to your dream? Here you go. What do you wanna do? And as we talk about, once you put your intention and you focus on that, you can do it. And then you learn again with the mythos, and as we said before, it becomes a really great part of in your life. You understand Earth, Vedandi, and Skuld. You see that there is no past or no present or future. We see things as it had already happened, it is happening, and it might have become. Because you see that all your actions that you're doing right now is helping you to build the future you want. So, it all depends on you and the effort you put on your priorities. So, I think that's really deep, And the magic thing of that is because it's so simple and we cannot see. The most of the time we don't see those things, and it's so simple. When you started to see, you cannot unsee that anymore. You see all the time.
That's true. And oftentimes as well, when we have fears about something, especially when it comes to change, we have skewed interpretation of what change means, first of all, when we're talking about personal transformation, because of course people don't know what that will look like.
Right.
Okay. But fear, when we choose to embrace that particular thought in relation to the idea of who we believe we ourselves to be, trumps up and blows up the potential consequences from something that may have been the size of a molehill to something that's the size of Mount Everest. And most of the time, the things that we are afraid of actually never happen. Which goes to show how irrational it is, okay? But it doesn't mean it feels any less. And so, you know, taking that moment just to switch perspectives and say, hey, well, what would happen if I decided to be excited about this instead of fearful of it? Just like that anticipation of the drop of doom or a roller coaster when you finally get up to the top, and there is a part of you that says, oh shit, what did I just get myself into? And then there's the rush of good. I know my wife knows all about that. She used to go skydiving, and I'm sitting there saying, okay, it's not the skydiving that would concern me, it's the landing part. You know, and then she says the same thing about me when I say I always wanted to go hang gliding. But, you know, the fears that we have are often based on something that we think might happen, but has no basis in actual reality, or maybe it's 1 in a million that would happen to. Okay. And so, you know, maybe take the moment just to switch gears there and say, well, hey, why don't I look at it like a roller coaster and see let's do this and see what happens. Because you see, once you're there, you're not afraid of it anymore.
Right.
And then, you know, you realize, why didn't I do this before? You know, what fullness and richness in my life could I have had for all these years? You know, I know that's what I thought. You know, yeah, a lot of times there was an awful lot of concern over what was expected of me when I was growing up. Because I had, you know, different things with the occult that happened since as early as 4 years old. However, I could never speak about those things in the context that I speak about them now. Back in those days, I would have been hung by a beam and flogged. I mean, not literally, but that's what thoughts came to my mind anyway when I was young, because of the fact that there was such a heavy rejection in evangelicalism towards anything that wasn't from the Bible. And so, you know, and some of you might be in that place, but you know what? It's better to be true to yourself than it is to be true to somebody else's idea of who you should be. And it's better as well to be true to who you really are than to be true even to your own ideas of who you think who you think yourself to be, because maybe a lot of those ideas are not even something that came from you. You know, becoming a whole person is part of connecting to your innermost self. And there isn't really anything truly scary about that. All right. The other thing that is important is to have the understanding firmly in your mind that life is not about absolutes. One of the things that brings about a lot of fear in people is the fear of absolutes. And this can really hammer somebody into a corner. Okay, I talked about this a little bit in the question answer on Facebook and also in the broadcast, The Curse of Dualism, which of course is very different than polarity, because dualism restricts consciousness, polarity encourages growth. Okay, understanding that life is not black and white, it's gray. Every circumstance and every situation that you face will require a different degree of wisdom for you to meet successfully. And that means that the decisions you have to make will not be one thing or another, but a series of possibilities. And the only one responsible for those choices is you, not somebody else. And so, if things were absolute, there is only light and there is only darkness. Okay, if they were that way, you would have a very clear-cut decision 100% of the time without too many choices at all, wouldn't you? Think about it for a moment. A lot of people want to be embroiled in absolutes because they feel safe, they feel secure, and there is a lack of definitive change. When you move into connecting with your true self, you realize that's not true. Then all of a sudden you realize, holy shit, I'm responsible for my life. What am I going to do? But realize you always were responsible for your life. But now you get to take control of it. So I hope that's inspiring you to really think and take an action that will help you. I know you've seen a lot of things going on. What do you think about what I've just said there, Tom?
I think that I agree as well. And right here where I live in Brazil. We are going right through a really dangerous and extreme time. We have the politics happening here, and it's totally dualism right here, right now. And we could be so much better, and that's so sad. Because if people really understood the power they had in each and everyone of who they are, we could be so much better. And to see the situation right here, right now, is sad. I mean, I don't have a perfect life, but I choose to look at my life as a perfect, and that has helped me to go through my troubles, my situations, and the hardships that the life bring to me on every day, all the time, with a different light, you know. Time to reflect in. Way before, I would be so extreme, and probably I would be lost if I didn't have gone through those self transformations, because I was very impulsive, and this has helped me to bring my life around. And I really think that with your self knowledge, your self transformation, you start to see, like you said, everything is great, because everything has a lot of sides. You know, you can't say for sure that one thing is one thing, because as you said in a broadcast, uh, the moment you say that one thing is one thing, you automatically say that is not something else. So you label something, and it's so easy to label, and you get lost on those labels. You get lost. Once you get lost, it's really hard to you find yourself again. And I think that we have the chance right now to really have control of our lives, but that it's a lot of weight to us, and we have only us. Because until you're ready, you're not gonna find something else you know, because there are needs, there are situations that you need to go through yourself by yourself. Until you do that, you won't be able to be with someone else, to count with someone else, to help someone else, you know. And a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to pay the price. A lot of people just want to, I have a new car, I have a new phone, I have the newest thing, that whatever it is, you know. And well, you know, that's life. Yeah, but at some point, we see that all the time. People that have everything, but is missing something, so I can live with that. I gonna kill myself, you know. Oh, but you have everything. No, I don't, and I don't know what is missing. How
Mm-hmm.
lost is that, you know? And that's sad. And there are something here that in the Havamal that I read a few days because we had to do that task. And it was awesome, and I will bring that for the rest of my life. Is when Odin says that only your own mind knows what is dearest to your heart. Each conceals himself. There is no worse illness for a sage than losing love for yourself. So if you don't have that, the love for yourself, you lost. You totally lost. And you're never gonna find yourself again.
And that's an important thing to remember too. Yeah, because of course, how can you love yourself? You really don't know who you are.
Right?
You know? So I'm hoping that this is something that has, you know, I know there's a lot more than just two camps of people out there. I wanted to put that out there in this fashion because it's kind of like two extremes. And you paint the picture for everything that's in between because there's so much more. And we've
Right.
all been in every one of those camps, as I call it, of thought at one point in time in our lives or another, sometimes more than once. Okay. And it's getting past that, allowing that connection to not only be forged with who we really are, with our true self, with our deepest inner self, but allowing it to grow and to become far more powerful, far stronger, until that aspect of who we really are is what inhabits all that we are in our expression in this world. That is one of the most important goals of magic. That is part of what so many people call ascension. Some people call it apotheosis. Some people call it this. Some people call it that. It is becoming who you really are on more than just intellectual level, but in a connection that shines forth in who you are, in your full expression, spirit, mind, and body. And when that happens, you know it. And it happens in stages, and it happens in progression. So I encourage you to watch this video more than once. Please share this as far and wide as you want to. I would hope that you would want to share it to as many people as you can. Feel free to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe by hitting the little red button. And you know, help us as well by doing that to increase our impact and how many people we're able to get in front of with the information that we have here at the Damn Podcast. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Thank you, Tony, for being here with me today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. It was really nice. First time, so I'm sorry I was a little bit nervous, but it was awesome. Thank you very much. It was awesome.
Well, it's awesome, Tony, and you did great.
Thank you.
And for those of you, I want to, you know, just remind you quickly of the schedule change that has happened. Of course, we're doing one broadcast a month now for the main broadcast instead of two, and that's on the third Sunday of every month at 4. Let me get the schedule right myself here. 4 p.m. GMT plus 6 time. And of course, you can always go to our website, thedamnpodcast.net, and on our video player page, there's a blue clock that's just over top of the main video player, and that tells you what time it is here. So if you don't know what time zone you're in or what GMT plus 6 is, just look at that clock and you can make the calculation and you'll know exactly when to tune into this live. Thank you again. I'm Dan, the host of the Damn Podcast. Until next time.